Hello, everybody. So I was having some small technical difficulties early this morning, but I think I fixed them. We'll see. We'll start in about 23 seconds, as you can see on the timer over there. Let me just double check a couple of things to make sure that they're working, and then we will get this live stream started in about 11 seconds. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, hello and welcome to this English lesson where you get to ask questions and I will do my best to answer them. I was having a few little technical problems this morning. I still am having a few technical problems. They are related to the fact that I'm using a new question sheet. Let me just fix that over there so it looks correct for you. You'll see it move in a sec. But anyways, welcome. It's not that there was a problem with the new question process. There was a problem with the old one. So I had a little trouble getting it set up and working properly. But I think I have it working now. We'll see. Anyways, that is why I was not in the chat saying hi to everybody and being extra chatty. Sounds like everything is working. So we are going to get started in just a moment. I do want to thank Todd and Dave. I think Dave is here. Haven't seen Dave yet, for moderating the chat. I want to say hi to Julia Olise and Lolly Lolly. I see that American English with this guy is in the chat as well. Rod, the Brazilian English teacher, is here. I'm just scrolling back. Norma is here. Huang Vo is here. Moto Explore is here. Norma is here. I might have said Norma already, but sometimes I repeat myself. I also see Arlie in the chat. M. Monrat is in the chat. Vlad Koloti is in the chat. Gloria. So many people here to ask a few questions about the English language and to have me attempt to answer them. Before we get started, just a reminder that the chat is for English conversations between each other. I do not have enough time to read the chat and to answer questions. It's a little confusing to do both. So please use the chat to have good English conversations with each other. And if you have a question, Todd or Dave will put a link in the chat that you can use to ask that question. I'm going to assume that there already is a question. Yes, there is. So just give me 1 second here to see how things are working. Let's see here. I'm going to put the first question on the screen. So you'll notice I don't have it formatted as nicely. I do have to play around with that. If you're wondering what's happening, the old software I used stopped working this morning, but Dave the Canadian built new software for me in January, and I hadn't had a chance to test it out. So suddenly this morning, the old software stopped working, the software that puts the questions here. And the new software, I quickly learned how to use it properly, but I didn't get it to look exactly the way I wanted. So once again, thanks to Dave. When Dave shows up, I'll thank him. But Mike has this question. Hi, Bob. I'd be grateful if you could use these in example sentences to punch your ticket, the figurative meaning, and crony. Have a good one. So when someone punches your ticket, let me check something here. My computer's giving me a small error. Let's see here. Yeah, so, excuse me. We're off to a rough start. Mike, when you punch your own ticket, it means that you do something that's so impressive, you will probably get a promotion at work, or you'll get a better spot on maybe a sports team. So when someone plays a basketball game and they get over 30 points a game for 3 games in a row, they're punching their own ticket to being on the starting lineup. And then your second one, a crony, is someone who does a crime with you. So if you are someone who commits crimes, which I know none of you are, a crony would be someone who does that with you. That would be one of your cronies. Let's see here. The next question is from SL Lenka. Hi, Bob. Could you please explain the phrase, I always make offers with, it should be escape clauses. Okay, let's add an E to the front. So an escape clause is like you put something in writing that lets you get out of the agreement or offer if you want to. Okay, and then if you say my dad was draft exempt, That means that if he was supposed to be in the army at a certain age, he did not need to go in the army. In some countries, there is a draft for people who are age 18 or 19. Some countries require that you do mandatory service, but also sometimes countries have a draft where they just require people to be in the military. So if your dad was draft exempt, it meant he did not have to go into the army when the government told him to. Let's see here. From Ruslan, hello, dear teacher Bob. No question today. I just want to thank you for the great lessons. I heartily wish you 1 million subscribers by the summer. Best wishes, sir. Well, we'll see, Ruslan. I'm not sure we'll get to 1 million. I'm not sure that the channel will grow that quickly. But I will tell you right now, the channel is very healthy. The channel has been doing well since the middle of January. I think a lot of people make a New Year's resolution to learn English or to study English more in January when the new year starts. And then that certainly helps me get a lot of views and a lot of new subscribers on my channel. So thank you, Ruslan, for that. Next question. Next question is from Bilal, and Bilal says, question, can we use may in this sentence? If he had gone there, he might have been caught. Also, do you use cry in the sense of scream? Okay, so first of all, if he had gone there, he may have been caught. If he had gone there, he might have been caught. You can use both. Might sounds better to me. He might have been caught, but may would work as well. Also, do you use cry in the sense of scream? So cry has a couple meanings in English. When I am sad, I might cry, and then tears will come from my eyes. So when you cry, it's when you're sad. But you might let out a cry, or you might cry out if someone scares you. So if I jumped out from behind a tree and said, boo, you might cry out. Okay, so you might scream. Definitely works both ways. Hey, let me just do an audio check. I don't see any complaints in the chat. So I think everything is probably working well. And we'll move on to the next question. I see Bernadette in the chat saying, hello, Bob. Hello, everybody. Hello, Bernadette. Welcome to the live stream. Lolly saying hi to Maggie. I love seeing regular viewers say hi to each other. And then Brent from American English with This Guy is chatting it up with various people in the chat. Awesome, Brent. Thank you for being here and always being kind and taking care of people. Next question from Frank. Is it okay to say, so a little fix at the beginning there, is it okay to say, I'm going to buy something? What there is specifically. Oh, I see. Yes, I could say, I'm going to buy something at the store this afternoon. And Jen could say, what? And she would be asking, what are you going to buy? And I could say, I'm going to buy what there is. So I'm going to buy whatever is at the store. So, yes, you could say what there is. It's very general and it's kind of a funny response, but you could say that. Yes, for sure. Let's see here. Athanasios. Hi, Athanasios. Hello, dear teacher. How are you today? I'm good. How could I use the word congenial? Thank you in advance. So first of all, I don't use the word very often, but when you are congenial, it means you are nice and kind and polite. I'm going to look the word up for a sec just to make sure. Congenial, a person of pleasant personality, qualities, and interests that are similar to one's own. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that part of it. So if you meet someone who's very congenial, it means you get along with them. It's fun to talk to them, and maybe they share some of your interests. I didn't actually know that part of the definition. There's a movie with Sandra Bullock called Miss Congeniality, because I think she goes into a beauty pageant. I think that's the one. Anyways, interesting movie. Next question from Andrew. Excuse me. Andrew says, hi, Bob. You are my favorite teacher. Thanks, Andrew. How do you keep discipline in your class? I try to be lighthearted. I try to get to know students well so that I want to be more than just a teacher that says, read this page, do these questions, write this essay. I want to know a little bit about the students, just a tiny bit. If they're on a basketball team, I like to ask them if they won the previous game. I like students to realize that I'm just a human being and that I respect them because they are human beings as well. When you do that, you don't have too many discipline problems in class. Although I must say I teach classes that naturally have students who are interested in what I'm teaching. They choose to take my classes, so that makes it a little easier as well. The hardest students to teach are students who are forced to take a class. That's never an enjoyable experience for them or for the teacher. Next question here from Andre. Hello, teacher. How can I say get out of the car in the past tense? Is there another way to say get in the car? Is this the formal expression? Thanks. So yesterday I got out of the car when I got home. So get becomes got. So last week when I got out of the car, there was snow on the ground and I slipped. So that would be the past tense, or speaking about it in the past. And then is there another way to say get in the car? No, in the morning, I get in the car and I go to work. When I get to work, I get out of the car. When I'm done work, I get back in the car and I go home. So we definitely, that is the most common way to talk about it, to say to get in. Let's see here. So I'm just looking at this, Jerry. Hi, tell me, what is the difference between... Yeah, so I think you mean to set something aside or to set something apart, okay? So that's what I would say there. So not get, I would use set. When I set something aside, let's say I'm eating cookies and there's 2 left. I might set 2 cookies aside for Jen to eat later, okay? If there are 10 cookies on the tray, I might set 2 cookies apart from the other cookies. So it's similar. I would use to set aside more, definitely. Like I would set something aside. Sometimes at school, I set aside some papers for the students so I can give them to them when they get there. And how do you use the verb lack? When you lack something, you don't have it. So I lack talent. I lack a good singing voice. There you go. That's probably a better explanation. Let's see here. Next question from Francis. I don't want... Okay. If you're talking about something, like you're saying there's a disagreement, so it refers to the disagreement. You could say, I don't want it starting a fight with Lucy. I don't want the disagreement we have starting a fight with Lucy. I don't want it starting a fight with Lucy. You could say, I don't want it to start a fight with Lucy. I don't want it starting a fight with Lucy. They're both right, yes. And I don't know which one I would use. I would use both, Francis, for sure. I don't want it starting a fight with Lucy. I don't want it to start a fight with Lucy. Both totally fine. Both totally correct. Let's see here. Kismo has the next question. Kismo says, hi, Teacher Bob. What is a mom and pop store? Like your flower business. Thanks. Yes, we would say that we have a little mom and pop shop or a little mom and pop store. In town, we used to have a small store. I live close to a really tiny town, and the store was owned by a man and a woman, and they were the only 2 people who worked there. Their kids were older and had moved out. One still worked there in the summer. So you would call it a mom and pop store. So a McDonald's is not a mom and pop restaurant. If you have your own little store, then we would call it a mom and pop. There are a lot of mom and pop stores out in the country in Canada. So let me check something here to make sure. Yeah, it looks like everything's working good. Let me get to the next question. Oop, I'm on the wrong page here. Natalia. Hi, Natalia. Hello, Bob. I have 3 verbs for you today: heat, warm, and hot. How can I use them? Can I heat a cold room? Can I ask the waiter to heat my soup? Yes. So a couple of things here. First of all, when you use the word hot, it's to describe something. So it's not a verb. Okay, let's move that one out of the way. I could say it's really hot in this room. But you have the verb to heat and the verb to warm. So you could say, this room is cold, I need to heat this room. Or you could say, this room is cold, I need to warm up this room. For some reason, we use the phrasal verb warm up, or the verb phrase warm up there. I'm not sure. This room is cold, I need to heat this room. This room is cold, I need to warm up this room. The same with your soup. You could say to the waiter, could you heat my soup up? Or could you warm my soup up? I'm not sure why we need the word up there, but it just sounds better and makes it sound correct to my ear. So yes, sometimes you need to ask the waiter to warm your soup up. You could say, could you heat my soup? But when you add the word up, it just sounds correct. Yeah, English is weird. Sorry, Natalia. Let's see here. Brand has the next question. Hi, Bob. Good to see you again. Hi, Brand. My question is, it's working bad, it's working badly, it's working wrong. I would say badly. Okay, so you would say, this computer, it's not working right. It's working badly. There's something wrong with it. So I did use the word wrong there. Okay, so you could say, it's working badly. There's something wrong with it. That both of those phrases would be correct to describe something that isn't working properly. Hey, I do want to stop and say hi to the 416 people watching. If you are new here, there is a red subscribe button there that you should click. Wrong way, Bob. There's a red subscribe button there you should click, and you will get notified when I do new English lessons on my channel. Thanks for being here, everybody who is here. Always fun to see people here. Again, sorry I wasn't chatty before the live stream started. Usually I like to chat with people in the chat, but I was having a few technical difficulties, but I think I got them sorted out. Let's see here. Next question from Margaretha. Hi, Teacher Bob. Please explain the difference between artist and artiste, proprietary and owner, people and peoples. Thank you. Best wishes from Ukraine. So first of all, an artist and an artiste, that is the same. Although I would say if someone says they are an artiste, they think they're better than an artist, maybe. I don't know. We don't use the word artiste very much. We sometimes use it to mock someone. We'll say, oh, that he's a real artiste. Like we'll use kind of the French version of artist. And then you have proprietary, but what you meant to say is proprietor. So a proprietor and an owner, that is the same thing. You could say, could I speak to the owner of the store? Or could I speak to the proprietor of the store? Proprietary is something with computers. When you buy a mouse, it's a proprietary device. So it's not part of the computer. So the word you have there is not the word for owner. It's proprietor. And then people and peoples. We don't often pluralize peoples, but you could say something like, there are a lot of different peoples in the south of France. No, see, it's when you're talking about different kinds of people, right? So if you have people from Ireland and England and Scotland all in one town, you could say there's a lot of peoples from different regions in that town. Actually, just avoid peoples. I don't use the word peoples very often. Let me just check when to use peoples. Maybe Brent has an idea here. When to use peoples. People is the correct word most of the time. So peoples is only necessary when you refer to distinct ethnic groups who are in the same region. So my explanation was kind of right, but you can probably find a better one on the internet somewhere. Next question from Famida Yahan. Hello, Teacher Bob. How are you doing? I'm good, Famida. Thank you for asking. My question is, what is the difference? A little correction there. Between wet versus drench versus soak. Thank you. So wet is the state you are in after water has been thrown on you. Or if you have a towel that's dry and you put it in water and take it out, we would then say it is wet. Okay. But when you use the verb to drench or to soak, if you throw water on me, I would say that I got drenched in water. Okay. So the water landed on me. If you threw water on me, I could say I got soaked with water. You can also use the verb soak when you put something in water. You could say, let's let the plates and cups soak in the sink for a while so that they're easier to clean. Okay. So whenever you drench something, you put water on it. Okay. So you could, you could take a watering can and you could drench a plant with water. That means you're putting water onto it. Or if you put something in water, you are soaking it. We use the verb to soak, though, to refer to a lot of ways to use water. Like my kids can shoot me with water guns and I can get soaked with water. If I'm carrying a pail of water and I trip and it spills on me, my leg might get soaked with water or drenched in water. You could use both in that case. hopefully that made some sense. The verb soak is probably the best one to use in most situations. Let's see here. Next question from Marianne. How to pronounce these words: bother, bothering, and bothered. Let me use each of those in a sentence. When I was a kid, I used to bother my sister. So she would make a sandwich, and then she would cut it in 4, and then I would take part of it and eat it. It wasn't very nice. I wasn't a nice brother. I would bother my sister. My sister would then say to my mom, Bob is bothering me. Tell Bob to stop bothering me. And then I can understand why my sister was bothered. She was bothered because I wasn't being a very nice brother. So there's some usage there and some pronunciation. And what's the difference between over there and that way? So let's see. So when you say that way, it means someone is going in that direction. Okay. So if someone says, how do I get to the next town? You could say you need to go that way. And you're going to point. When you say that way, you point. If someone says, where is the cat food? You could say, oh, it's over there. It's that way, it's over there. So they're very similar now that I use them. Like, you need to go over there to get the cat food. You need to go that way to get the cat food. Yeah, very similar. I think you can almost use them interchangeably. Although sometimes using over there, it's a little less direct. Like you just say, oh, it's over there somewhere. So anyways, Marianne, sorry. I think you can use both and they mean almost the same thing. Let's see here. I'm going to skip the next question because it's very much a grammar question. So I'm just going to leave it. Let's see here. And the next one as well. Okay, let's do this one. Here we go. From Tim, what is the difference between less and fewer and how to use them correctly? So this can be an entire lesson, Tim. So I'll do my best to give you a few example sentences. Let's see, when my kids are all older, Jen and I will have to buy less groceries. Okay. Right now we buy a lot of groceries, but once all our kids move out, we'll need to buy less groceries. Okay. So we won't need as much. Once my kids have moved out, we'll have fewer kids in the house. So again, a couple example sentences. This is a very tricky thing to explain quickly, but there's a few example sentences for you. I totally understand why it is challenging, but hopefully you can find a lesson on YouTube explaining the difference between less and fewer. I've not done a lesson on that. I think Brent might have. I'm just guessing though. Sorry, Brent. I'm not sure if you did or not. But anyways, if someone knows of a good lesson that explains the difference, let Tim know, please. Let's see, next question. So Mikhail says, hi, Bob. When do we add do in positive sentences? Like I do remember, they do study, etc. So this is how I use do. I use it to emphasize, and I'll give you a few example sentences. If someone says to me, do you know how to drive? I could say, yes, I know how to drive. But if I want to emphasize it, if I want to say it strongly, I'll say, yes, I do know how to drive. Do you like pizza? Yes, I do like pizza. Do you like pizza? Yes, I like pizza. Do you like pizza? Yes, I do like pizza. So sometimes we add the word do just to make the meaning of the sentence a little bit stronger. If someone said, do you like making YouTube videos? I could say, yes, I like making YouTube videos. Or I could say, yes, I do like making YouTube videos. I do, actually. I do like making YouTube videos. Why do we do that? I don't know. Let's see here. Next question from Eduardo. A good bathroom question here. Eduardo says, Bob, good morning. In the lesson, the bathroom, you said the number one we usually say for pee or urinate, using the phrase take a leak. Is it common in Canada? So yes, first of all, what Eduardo is referring to is if you need to go to the bathroom, you might have to go number 1 or number 2. If you need to go number 1, it means that you're going to go take a pee, okay? Which reminds me of a funny story. It's beautifully white outside because of all the snow, But there are spots outside where Oscar has gone number 1, where he has peed on the snow, and then the snow is yellow. But Eduardo's asking about the phrase take a leak. Yes, when you in English, it's a very informal, almost a slang phrase referring to the need to pee, or the more formal word is to urinate. So you could say, you know, if my brother and I are sitting around a campfire and I might say to him, hey, I'll be right back. I need to go take a leak, which means I need to go pee. I need to go to the bathroom. I need to go, number 1. That's a good question, Eduardo, by the way. I forgot about that phrase, to take a leak. Maybe I should teach that on my other channel. Let's see here. Next question is from Maggie from Taiwan. Maggie says, how are you doing, Teacher Bob? I'm good, Maggie. Thanks for asking. Do most Canadians do their jobs related to their major subjects in school? It really depends. So a lot of students after grade 12 at age 17 or 18 will go to college or university. In Canada, some students at that age also just start working. They might go and become a construction worker. And what you do when you go into what we call the trades is you actually go and start working in that trade, maybe as a plumber or bricklayer or construction worker. And then every few months, you go to school for 8 weeks for training. So in some ways, yes, but I would say not always. If you go to university, some people in Canada get a university degree and then they don't end up even working in that field. I know people who are teachers who don't teach in a school. They actually run a greenhouse business. So no, not always. Most of the time, people will get a job in their field, in the subject or thing they majored in university, but not always. Let's see here. Next question is from Catherine. Hi, Bob. Education on climate change. So I think a lot of people need to be educated a bit more on climate change or about climate change. A lot of times the way out of knowing whether you need in, on, or that, or at, sometimes the word about, like this is a lesson about learning how to pronounce things in English. This is a lesson on learning to pronounce things. So it doesn't always work, Catherine, but in this situation, I would say a lot of people need to have a lot more education on climate change, or I would say they need a lot more education about climate change. And thank you in advance. Yes, no problem, Catherine. You're welcome. Let me see here. I'm just looking at the chat, seeing people chat away always makes me happy. If you are one of the 528 people watching, I'm never pointing the right way today. There is a red subscribe button there. You should click it. If you want to support my channel, there is a join button below. You can click that and find out what that all entails. Let's see here. I feel bad because I don't think Dave's here, is he, Todd? I'm using Dave's new software and I wanted to thank him. He sent it to me over a month ago and I only tested it out once and then I didn't start using it. And now the day I use it, I think Dave is busy. I think Dave might be doing midterm exams right now at university, so he's not here. Anyways, thanks, Dave, if you watch this later. Merv, hi, Bob from Turkey. I just wanted to thank you for your time, effort, and energy and wanted to wish you a year with loads of smiles. Thank you for your teaching. Yes, no problem, Merv. It's very fun for me. As you can see, I am enjoying myself. It has, however, been a very long week, and I have to be careful that I don't strain my voice. I've been talking a lot more at school during the week, and of course, we are wearing masks, and I'm teaching one more class than I normally am. So, oh, I'm just seeing Todd say that. Yeah, nope, I don't see him. Yeah, oh well. Dave will have to look later. I'm teaching one more class than I did last fall, and I have a lot more students. So I have to be careful that I don't strain my voice. I use my voice to make money. If I can't talk, I can't go to work. So I have to make sure that I don't use my voice too much. If I can't talk, I can't make YouTube videos either. Let me see here. Let me get to the next question. Next question is from Omer. Would you please explain this? Today we had to really earn and work our way into the game. It's a start as we haven't had the best of runs, so it's something to build on. Okay, so let me fix a few things there. First of all, you could say today we had to really earn and work our way into the game. This is how I would say it. I would say today we had to be at the top of our game. What in English, and this is regional possibly, I think it's very North American. If you say today we had to be at the top of our game, it means you had to do the best work you could possibly do and do it perfect. And then you could say it's a start as we haven't had the best run so far, and it's something to build on. Basically what it's saying is this, you need to do your best. You're just starting a project, and maybe you haven't done well on projects in the past. When you say we haven't had the best run, it means you haven't done well on past projects, but you've done well enough that you have a foundation that you can build on. Okay, so you've gotten enough done. Tricky to understand phrases with that many little phrasal verbs and other little hiccups in it, I would say. Let's see here. So Irina, hi teacher Bob, please explain these phrases. To pour over, and he hardly did himself justice. Thank you. So I'm going to fix a couple things. First of all, the word pore here refers to the tiny pores in your skin. If you look really closely at someone's face, you can see their pores. And that's where when you sweat, it comes out of your pores. So that's not the word for this verb. It's P-O-U-R, to pour over. Now that I've said that, I better double check it. I want to make sure I'm not wrong. I'm pretty sure it is. Let me double check. Yes, P-O-U-R. When you pour over something, it means you study it intensely. So before you have an English exam, you should pour over your notes. That means you sit down and you read your notes over and over again. You pour over them. So P-O-U-R, you pour over them. And when you don't do yourself justice, or when it doesn't do someone justice, it just means it isn't fair. If you don't do yourself justice, it means you're not being fair to yourself. Let me see here. How could I explain that a little bit better? I'm just looking it up. Do yourself justice. Looking for a good example sentence. Yeah, if you do yourself justice, you do something as well as you are capable of doing something. If you don't do yourself justice, it's kind of the opposite. You don't do as best. You don't do your best. Next question from Aslan. Hi there. What's the difference between award and reward? So an award is something you win for doing something well, sometimes on a sports team or at school. So let's say I was on a football team and I was the top scorer. I might get an award at the end of the year saying Bob the Canadian top scorer, Ontario Football Club. A reward usually means you are getting money or something that has value, okay? So often when they are looking for information, if the police want information about a crime, they will say there's a reward. That means you'll get $100 if you know who did it. Sometimes when people lose a pet, they will offer a reward if someone sees their pet and returns it. So a reward usually means that you're getting some kind of money out of the deal. Let me see here. I got to make a small change. Let me get to my live chat and let me hit save and let me get back to my main screen. So we are going into members only chat mode for about 10 minutes. If you are a member, if you have clicked that join button below, you can ask questions in the chat right now directly, and I will answer questions directly from the chat. So if this question sits here for a while and you're wondering, what is Bob talking about? I'm answering questions from the chat over there or from below from people who are members of my channel. As I do that, if there aren't a lot of questions, I'll keep answering questions here. Let's see here. Let me do that right now. So Benar says, hi, dear teacher. I hope you're having a great day. That would be how you would say it. I hope you're having a great day. The best online course on YouTube is free. Yeah, everything I do on YouTube, except for my Wednesday video, is completely free. I know people have told me, I get emails a lot from companies that say I should charge money for my English lessons, but I don't want to. I don't feel like it. That does not interest me at all. I have a job during the day. I do make a little bit of money from YouTube ads, so this is worth my while. And I just feel like there's lots of people in the world, and I don't mind helping out a little bit. It's kind of fun for me, so I will keep doing it. Let me see here. Panthera Nori has a question. Dear Teacher Bob, do you tend to use the expression top-notch when something is outstandingly great? Yes, I will actually use that word in class a lot with my students. If a student does a project and it's amazing, I will say, I will tell them this is top-notch. This is like one of the best projects in the class. This is one of the best projects that I've seen. This is a top-notch project. You did an excellent job. By the way, people were asking how I have good classroom discipline or what I do. Another thing I do is I make sure students are praised. I give them good feedback when they do well in class. I think that's important as well. Just checking the audio for a sec. Let me get back over here. Next question is from San from over here. San says, my English is good, but I still have issues about vocabulary. I understand the things I want, but sometimes I don't understand formal English speakers or British people. It just takes time, San, and it depends on the amount of English you are exposed to every day. Even if you live in an English-speaking country, I'm not sure if you do, you still have to make an effort to speak with English people every day. You can live in an English-speaking country and never speak English. You can get by without speaking English, but you do need to make an effort. Hey, I do want to welcome Stephanie, who has just joined as a member. Welcome to the channel, Stephanie. Thank you so much for the support. You will see now that your name is in green if you use the chat, and you get a little crown by your name. Let's see here. Xiao Su says, hello, Bob. Hello, Xiao. Lolly says, welcome, Stephanie. Thanks for welcoming her, Lolly. And then let me back up to Julia Olise. Hi, dear teacher. Could you please explain the difference? Thousands of people and thousands people. So if you don't know how many people are somewhere, but it looks like a lot, you might say there were thousands of people there. If there were exactly 1,000, you would say there were 1,000 people there. Your second phrasing, thousands people, we wouldn't say that's incorrect. I'm not sure. Maybe it's 1,000 people. No. Yeah. So we wouldn't say thousands people. We just wouldn't say that. So you could say there were thousands of people. So you know there were more than 1,000, but you don't know how many. Or you could say there were 1,000 people there. We can say things too, like there were about 1,000, which means somewhere in that vicinity. Moto Explorer. Hi, Teacher Bob. The lesson Healthy Living and Work helped me to figure out many things I do wrong in life, like work balance. Thanks. You are welcome. Yeah, sometimes my lessons look like vocabulary lessons, but they actually have a lot more to them than that sometimes. Sometimes my lessons are to remind me to live better. The healthy living one was actually because I wasn't living healthy that week. So I thought I should do a lesson on it to remind myself to live better. Anuat, hi Bob, how are you doing? What does it mean when someone says it's time to put a moratorium on everything? A moratorium means an ending, like you want to put an ending to something. Let's get the official term up on, let me just check for a sec. Like when they put a moratorium, a temporary prohibition of an activity. Yeah, so when you want something to stop, you put a moratorium on it. It's a very official word. The government uses it sometimes. I don't use it in the classroom or anything like that. Let's see here. Julia, and one more question. What does sugarcoat mean? When you sugarcoat something, it's when you have to tell someone bad news, but you don't tell them all the details right away. You kind of make it sound like good news, even though it's bad news. You sugarcoat it. It's not a good thing to do. Just tell it like it is. That's the best thing to do. Panthera, thank you, teacher. And the verb to sway means you wobble, or rather you influence someone, encourage someone to do something. It means both. If I'm really tired, I might sway when I walk. But you can also try to sway someone to think the same way as you. You might have a discussion with someone and you want to sway them. You want to convince them to think the same way as you. Let's see here. Moto Explorer, hi Teacher Bob, answer text back and reply, how to use them to chat with someone. Could I use answer in this sentence? He always answers my messages. Yes, I could say my friend always replies. My friend always texts me back. My friend always answers me when I text him. All of those work for sure. Rod says, Mr. Bob, just want to wish you a great weekend. You too, Rod. I hope you're having a good day down there in Brazil. I hope you're having a nice sunny day. Panthera, let's see here. Stephanie says, hello, nice to meet you. Good to see you here, Stephanie. Thanks for greeting me and everyone else in the chat. Let's see here. Julia says, thank you so much. Brent from American English with this guy. I think we also have similar styles when it comes to teaching. Never put a student on the spot. Don't embarrass them. Make them feel comfortable. Facial gestures are great ways to communicate. Yes, I would 100% agree, Brent. And then a good dose of humor. Even though my jokes when I'm teaching are lame, that means they're not very funny. I still tell a lot of lame jokes as a teacher because it makes me laugh and smile, and I think that helps the students. In English, we have something called a dad joke. A dad joke is like it's not even really that funny, but it's a joke that people my age tell because we think they're funny. I tell a lot of teacher jokes, I would call them, in the classroom. They're not super funny, but they're okay. Let's see. Panthera says, Teacher Bob, and the word viable can be used only in the medical area, like tissues can be, or you can use it in different situations as well. Yes, you can use it in almost any situation. I could say like, oh, is that, well, I don't know. Like definitely in the medical world. Like when I say something like, oh, is that computer still viable? It sounds a little bit formal. But if I was creating a budget for work, the budget would be viable for about a year and then it would need to be reworked. So yes, you definitely can use it in other areas. It's a very formal word though, for sure. Let's see here. I think, oh, Dan Fan has joined as a member. Thanks, Dan, for joining. Awesome to have you on board. Thank you for supporting the channel. You guys are all awesome, by the way. Thank you. Anuat, this is a great question. What is curbside pickup? Thanks and have a good day. Right now in my area of Ontario, restaurants are closed, but you can still call. It's nice phone, eh? You can still call. That's kind of a teacher joke. You can still call and order food, and you can pick it up on the side of the road. So where the sidewalk goes down and meets the road or street in a city, that's the curb. So when you pull up to the curb, they bring your food to your car in a bag, and we call it curbside pickup. It's a relatively new term, and it's because of the pandemic, of course. Yes, welcome, Dan Fan. Awesome to have you here. Let's see, Panthera, dear teacher, what does it mean if something is based off context that is based off that hospital? So we use this phrase the most often when we talk about a movie that's based off a book. You can also say based on. So you could say this is based off a true story, or this is based on a true story. You can use both, but definitely it refers to something that's related to something else. Brent from American English says, so true. I don't mind if the students laugh at me in a certain way. I try to use their lingo like, that's tight when something is good. They cringe, but I'm self-aware if that makes sense. That's sick. That's awesome, Brent. Slang that students use comes and goes so quickly. It's kind of funny. I try to use the slang that I pick up, but I'm usually a year or two behind. But I use it anyways because I don't care. I actually think it's funny if a teacher uses slang from 5 years ago and the students think it's lame. That makes me laugh. I think mostly I just make fun of myself when I'm teaching. That's the best way to do it. Let's see here. Over here again, Abel says, hello, Bob. I just want to say thank you for your wonderful lessons. Have a nice day. You're welcome, Abel. It's no problem. I enjoy doing them. Let me see where I'm at here. Next question is from Natalia. Hello, Mr. Bob. Tell us, are you having any problems with your students to be focused on school lessons because of COVID? Best wishes. A little bit. When we are learning from home, when we do what's called remote learning, that I find very difficult to keep students engaged and motivated to learn. Right now, we are doing in-person learning. So I go to school every day and the students come to school. I find it's a lot easier to keep students engaged. But I think overall, because of COVID, students are a little less motivated than normal. I think it's a challenging time for students and a lot of people as well. Let's see here. Brent says, I go out of my way to use old slang. Exactly. Yeah, it's kind of fun to use old slang. Let's see here. And Xiao Su says, hello, Bob. Thanks for the best English lessons online and hope you get some time to rest your voice for the long run. Yes, no problem. I'm planning to rest my voice a lot today, so that should work well. Let me back up though. I think I just want to look over the chat to make sure I didn't miss anything. I think I did okay on that. I am going to flip chat back to normal mode. Give me one moment to do that. And I think I've done it. And I do want to say thank you once again to all of my members. If you are interested in being a member, there's no pressure, but if you want to know how to do it, there is a join button below. It gives you an explanation of what happens if you become a member. And mostly it just helps me do what I need to do. This takes time and it takes equipment. So I really do appreciate those who support me. It helps me, it helps everything go a little smoother when I'm making videos for you to help you learn English. Let's see here. I'm going to roll over to the chat again. Rod is saying to Brent, I totally agree. The more comfortable students are, the easier they engage and learn. I make fun of myself all the time. Yes, very important for teachers to be authentic, comfortable, real, and maybe a little bit humorous in their classrooms. I always think the more students realize that you're a real person, you're not trying to pretend that you're better than them because you know so much. You're just trying to help them. The more successful your class will be. Let's see here. Next question from Vlad. Hi, Expert Bob. Thanks, Vlad, for the compliment. Hope you are doing well today. Canada is the country of my dream. My question is, what does it mean when someone asks me a bizarre question? Thanks, dear Bob. So a bizarre question is one you weren't expecting. Oh, let me just check something for a sec. I feel like something weird just happened. So a bizarre question is a question that, like, if you're talking about hockey and then you're talking about hockey with two people and you're like, did you see the game like that last night? Oh, it was awesome. Did you see that goal? It was amazing. And then if the other person just says, let's see, do you think hockey players should wear baseball caps instead of helmets? That would be a bizarre question. So it's a question that comes out of left field. That's another phrase we use in English. It's kind of a nonsensical question, a question that doesn't make a lot of sense. Hopefully I made a lot of sense there. And your question was not a bizarre question. Let's see here. Next question is from Manar. Hey, Teacher Bob, hope you're fine. I am. I have a question about the word jealous, as it seemed to me meaning feeling of love in situations and hate in other situations. Well, that is the nature of jealousy. When two people love each other, and then when one person starts to maybe spend time with another person, the other person might get jealous. These don't look like people, do they? When two people love each other and one person starts to spend time with someone else, the other person gets jealous. They're jealous because they love that person, but they're also angry with that person because they're not spending time with them. So yes, jealousy is definitely a strange emotion because it's kind of a blend of love and anger, depending on the situation. Let's see here. Next question from Rosa. Hi, Teacher Bob. Would it be beneficial practicing writing without having someone to give feedback? Thanks in advance. So yes, absolutely. I highly recommend you keep a daily journal in English, and that does not have to be read by someone else. But that being said, it is good to write in English and have someone correct it. My French friend and I email back and forth each week before we meet on Zoom. And then when we meet on Zoom, we try to correct each other's writing. It's very helpful. But certainly writing just for the sake of writing is very, very good to do. It's a very good thing to do. I highly recommend you keep a journal. That means at the end of your day, write a few sentences in English about what you did that day. It's just a good thing to do. Rosa. Next question from Muchacho. Oh, Bob, what is the difference? Tip and lean, land and fall, assure and ensure. How to use the verb benefit? Thanks a lot, man. That's a lot of questions. Let's do the first one. When you tip something, if it's standing up and you push it, you can tip it over, okay? So sometimes when you are in a boat, the boat will tip, okay? So you don't have to push the boat, but if something's straight and it starts to do this, we would say it's starting to tip. And to lean, usually when I'm standing up, sometimes I'll lean on the wall. Sometimes I'll lean against the wall when I'm talking to Jen. It simply is a position you can put your body in. You can also describe something as leaning, okay? So if a tree doesn't grow straight, it might be leaning. You could say, oh, that tree has a lean to it. That tree is leaning. So a little bit of a variation. And to land and to fall, when you throw a ball, it will land on the ground, okay? When something is on a shelf and you push it off, it will fall off the shelf. I don't know if I'm explaining this really well, muchacho, but definitely you should, land and fall. That's interesting because something can, like, if Jen throws a ball to me, it can land on the ground in front of me, but it can also fall on the ground in front of me. So yeah, I would look those up and maybe do some, listen for those words in English speech to try and get a sense of what the slight difference is between the two. That's a tough one. Let's see here. Next question from Sasha. Hi, Teacher Bob. Have you heard about a new social network, Clubhouse? Are you going to try it? Thanks. So right now, Clubhouse is not available on Android phones, as far as I know, as of last week. I know it's available on the iPhone. I know that it is a really cool form of, it's like a combination between Zoom and podcasting, right? It's audio only, and it lets people start a room, and they have people on the stage of the room who can talk. And all you do is listen. There's no video. So we'll see. I'm really busy, so I'm not looking for new social media outlets. But when it becomes available for Android, I will certainly play around with it. Yeah, I'm always curious about new things. Let's see here. Okay, I'm going to skip the next question from Ario. Sorry, Ario, but Ario is just mentioning that someone passed away. I'm going to skip it because I usually don't take questions, Ario, that mention linking to other stuff. So I'm going to skip that one. But Ario, I do feel bad. That is sad when someone does pass away. It was an actor from Darman's YouTube channel. That's what Ario is mentioning. Let me see here. Let's see here. Israel says, hello, Teacher Bob. How are you? What does overdoing it mean? So I'm adding the word it there. When you overdo it, you do too much. Sometimes if you don't exercise and then you start exercising again, you overdo it. So you do like a 1 hour exercise and then the next day your back is sore. That happens to me sometimes. And is there a difference between cut back and cut down? Thanks a lot. Yes, when you cut back on something, you do less of it. No, it is the same. Sorry. When you cut back on something, it means you reduce, you cut down. So right now I have cut back on eating sugar. I have cut down on eating sugar. I've cut down eating sugar. Little variation there, isn't there? So I cut back and I've cut down. And now I just want to eat sweet stuff all the time because I haven't eaten a lot of sugar lately. You can probably tell because I'm starting to babble a little bit as I'm responding to the questions. But we're going to keep going. Here we go. Let's see here. Nicole. Should it be get over it or get it over? When talking about getting over some challenges and difficulties. Thank you so much. So Nicole, it would be get over it. When I'm sad, sometimes Jen says, you just need to get over it. It's not a kind thing to say, but we're very straight up with each other. We usually tell each other the truth. So if I'm having a bad day, sometimes Jen is sympathetic and she's very nice and she makes me a cup of tea and we talk about it. But if I talk about it for too long, she might just say, I think you just need to get over it. And that just means I need to stop thinking about it and I need to move on. I need to get on with my day. The phrase get it over, when you're playing baseball, if there's a fence, when you hit the ball, you want to get it over the fence. So you can use that phrase for something completely different. But definitely, if you say to someone, if someone says, I'm sad and I don't feel like going to work today, and if you say, get over it, it's not polite, okay? Because sometimes it's hard for people to get over things. So let me see here. Next question. I'm going to skip the next question. Sorry, Glider. It's a little bit hard to figure out. Next question. Hickory Stick says, by the way, hickory sticks are a snack you can buy in Canada. They're these little fried potatoes with lots of salt on them. They come in a bag. But anyways, hello, Bob. Thank you for your wonderful videos. What is the characteristics of a Canadian? Acceptance is one of them for sure. Have a nice weekend. Cheers. So once again, in general, I think Canadians are very friendly people, but Canada does have its fair share of problems. We are not a perfect country. We have as many people that I would say are a little bit off the mark, I would say, as other countries. We certainly are very accepting, though, of refugees and immigrants. We are a country where it is just a wide variety of backgrounds in Canada. So it's very common when I go to the mall, especially in Toronto, to see the world. That's how I describe going to the mall in Toronto. It's a beautiful thing. When I go to the mall in Toronto, I see people from every part of the world shopping there. They're all Canadians, but what I'm saying is Canada is made up of people who have moved here from every part of the world, and I think that makes us a really awesome country. It's something that I just find really cool about Canada. Let's see here. Next question from Dima from Belarus. Hello, Mr. Bob. Thanks a lot for your work. You are awesome. Thanks, Dima. Could you explain the phrasal verbs let down and get through? Thanks in advance. So sometimes people will do something and you feel let down, okay? So if my friend said, I'll meet you for breakfast tomorrow at 8 at this restaurant, and if I went there and my friend didn't come, I would feel let down. So it's like you feel sad or disappointed. And then when you need to get through something, it's similar to the phrase we were just talking about, to get over something. Sometimes you have something difficult in your life and you just need to get through it. So you need to just find a way to accept what's happening and get through what's happening to you. They have more meanings than that, but those are the two that I'm going to leave as my explanation. Let's see here. Next question from Fed. Hey, Teacher Bob, it's my first time in a live. Well, welcome, Fed Warrior. Good to see you here. I hope you're having a good day. I'm from Uruguay. Oh, you're from the southern part of, oh, sorry, you're from South America. I was going to say the southern part of the Americas. There we go. Do you know where we are? Yes, I definitely know where you are. I think I did a project on Uruguay when I was in grade 6. I'll have to check that and see. What's the difference between regards and greeting? So when you are writing a letter, you might start by saying, greetings, I'm Bob the Canadian. I just want to ask you if I can work at your company. When you finish the letter, you might say, kind regards, Bob the Canadian. They are both words that we don't use a lot, okay? They're kind of a more formal word, but definitely when you are greeting someone, it's at the beginning of a letter. You might go to a meeting at work, and at the beginning of the meeting, they might have a meet and greet where you can meet people and talk to them. But mostly my version of it, or my sense would be that we would use this in writing. Let's see. Kita says, hi, Bob. What's the difference between at the end of the year and by the end of the year? Thanks. Let's see. You need to get that job done at the end of the year. You need to get that job done by the end of the year. So when I say, you know, hey, we're going to have a party at the end of the year, it means on the last day of the year or the second last day, we're going to have a party. If I say what you're working on now, you need to get that done by the end of the year, it means between now and the end of the year, you need to work on it every day. So it's just a slight difference there. We are having a work party at the end of the year, but you need to get your project done by the end of the year. There's a couple example sentences. Let's see here. Next question from Lisa. Which one is the correct form? I go to work with my car, or I go to work by car. Thank you for your amazing lessons. I send hugs from Romania. I go to work. Yeah, I would say by car. I would actually say I take my car to work, or I drive to work every day. But you could say I go to work by car. Let's see. I go to work by car. Yeah, I go to work by car. How do you go to work? I go to work by car. I would definitely say I take my car, or I drive, or I commute. So let me back up. You can say I go to work by car. That's correct. But what I would normally hear people say is this. How do you get to work? I go to work by car. I drive to work. I take my car to work, or I commute. All of those would work inside one form or another. Next question. Masha says, hi, Bob. Good to see you. I was wondering what's the difference between supper and dinner? So this is different depending on where you live in the world. In Canada, supper and dinner are your evening meal. We have supper every night. We have breakfast in the morning. We have lunch halfway through the day. And at night, we have supper. We sometimes call it dinner. So Jen and I later will say, what should we make for supper? We might say, what should we make for dinner? But depending on where you live, it might have other meanings. So it's something that's very regional, and you might need to look it up. Let me see here. I think, you know what? I think I'm going to call it a day here, guys. I think I'm going to just mention that yesterday I did a lesson on work. If you haven't watched that lesson, a shorter version will be available in just a little while. I do want to say thank you to Todd for being here. I'm not sure if Dave arrived, but thank you, Todd, for being here. Thanks, Dave, for building this software for me. I will get it looking better for next week. But thank you very much, Dave, for taking the time to build that. Thanks to Rod, the Brazilian English teacher, and Brent from American English with This Guy for hanging out in the chat. Thank you to all of my members. You are awesome as always. I really do appreciate you. You make what I do here a lot easier and a lot simpler, because sometimes instead of having to deal with a piece of equipment that doesn't work well, I can now just get a better piece of equipment so that all of this works great. Thank you very much for being members. And thank you to everyone who is here, the 570 people. If you're, I'm still pointing the wrong way. If you're new here, there is a subscribe button there. I'm Bob the Canadian. I teach English here on YouTube. It is completely free. I make a lot of lessons. You can watch all of them. If you like them, you can keep watching them. If you don't, that's fine too. It's just something I do for fun and to help you. Anyways, bye everyone. Have a great weekend. I'll see you Tuesday with another short little English lesson. And I'll see you next week, Friday, with another live lesson. Bye, everybody.